Continue for this point about two kinds of cells. Found 2 points. You must distinguish between two kinds of cells. This number 23 chromosomes and this 46 chromosomes. So each one have one number from chromosomes. Number of chromosomes 23 chromosomes and the number of chromosomes 46 chromosomes. This is called haploid. And you can say this point diploid. You must distinguish between two parts for the haploid and diploid that have one set of chromosomes, one set only of chromosomes. So it's called haploid, and it's have two sets of chromosomes. It's called diploid. So you must distinguish between haploid and diploid, this kind from cells that produced from one kind from cell division called meiosis. Start with another information, basic information about inheritance. Homozygous gene have two kinds. I give an example, I explain one example for this point. That's alleles. Before you must see these points, alleles gene. Alleles gene, AA that forms alleles, A small. Two large letters and one large letter and also small letters. To distinguish between two alleles, this called homozygous, this heterozygous. That means having identical alleles of one particular gene, AA, and this different alleles for any gene. So all these basic structures from the nucleus inside chromosomes, gene, allele have two parts, maybe homozygous and also heterozygous. And move on another part for the kind of cells. Each one have one set of chromosomes, 23 chromosomes, and also another one, 46 chromosomes, this homozygous and another heterozygous. So I give you another part and explain genotype and also phenotype. Genotype and phenotype, this part that may be genes, and also this point, tall, short, you can say phenotype with characteristics. Move another part at the bottom of the page, haploid and diploid, one set of chromosomes, two sets of chromosomes. One set, 23 chromosomes, haploid, and 46 chromosomes, diploid. That two kind from cells, maybe that used for cell division, meiosis, that produce gametes inside the human body. Gene, AA, have two forms, have two shapes. AA forms allele, homozygous, having identical, and also another one, AA, large and small letters, that heterozygous. I give you one example for inheritance that you can say about this point for mechanisms of inheritance that discovered before chromosomes had been discovered or gene. That it was by one person known, Mendel, that who made very important discoveries about inheritance or about genetic information. This for this point, and start with monohybrid, the one characteristics that Mendel studied by one kind from the plant, bee plant in the garden, and produce and have more results from this studying. Start you from this point, from this monohybrid, start to make inheritance. Monohybrid, this one point about one characteristic for pea plant by Mendel that studied and start to make genetic diagram, you can say crossed between them. Parents tall, pure breeding, example, pure breeding, tall, and another short. Pure, breeding, short. You can say dwarf. The same, this point, another characteristic, dwarf. The same crossed between them produce one first generation seeds. Seeds harvest kind of the plant, and after flowering produce one plant is tall. So the first generations, can say first filial or filling generations. First filial generations for seeds are produced, harvest seeds, and they produce one characteristic tall. After a long time, seeds start to flowering and self reproduction. They produce one kind, they produce two kinds from the plant. Some of it tall and another short. Dwarf, the same characteristic. This 3 ratio and 3:1. This is the result after self reproduction between the kind of the plants. And Mendel starts to make genetic diagram for this point, monohybrid, and I give one example to understand this point. For this point about genetic diagram, inheritance, I explain one example and you must follow me the steps to can make another one. Such as this point, T small, T small. This, you can say tall, and another short. To understand this point about the inheritance, and also for homozygous, this parent, this homozygous, and this homozygous. Before I explain this point, homozygous, that may be the having identical alleles. So follow me. Parent produce gametes, homozygous produce one gametes, the same part, G, large. Maybe I delete this and I give you another color to understand this point, and another one gametes. You can say male and female. Make genetic diagram in first. After fertilization between them, produce one kind from the plant, from the organism, with genetic diagram with the results T large, T small. So is tall, this first one, first generation. After self reproduction between the first generation produce the same this part. As a result, must make tables from 4 because you need from two kind from this first generation, male and female, T and T. This heterozygous. This homozygous maybe that having identical, and this you can say heterozygous, maybe different identical. So there are different alleles between genes. So you must take genes from this and take genes to gametes and take gametes from this point, T small, T small, this male and this female. Continue to give the results. Start with female and male, T large, T large, T small, T large, T small, and T small. This is the ratio, the first point for the make tables, and start to make genetic diagram and can say make cross between the genes, between alleles to produce the ratio. The result 3 to 1. So TT tall, 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 and this you can say short. So the ratio 3 to 1, 3 tall and 1 you can say short. This is the first example for monohybrid. At the end of sections, the next period I give you the second part, the next example about the another inheritance, another genetic diagram, but you must understand this point and make comparison between all these points, and I give you one questions and start to answer these questions at the description of video. At the end, thanks so much. See you soon.